This video will give you a brief overview on using the GYTR Power Tuner, but it does not replace the Power Tuner Owner's Manual. There's a lot of important information that we can't cover in this video, so be sure to read the Owner's Manual completely before you connect the Power Tuner to a unit. The GYTR Power Tuner allows you to change the engine mapping for fuel injection and ignition timing, and it also has an engine monitoring mode. In the monitor mode, you can see engine speed, air temperature, engine coolant temperature, atmospheric pressure, and throttle valve travel in real time or as the engine is running. You can switch between centigrade and Fahrenheit for temperature, and kilopascal and inches of mercury for pressure. In the monitor mode, you can see the fault code for a current failure in the fuel injection or ignition system. A current failure means the failure has not been repaired, or the engine hasn't been started after the repair. Refer to the Owner Service Manual for your model for more information on the self-diagnostic functions. Also, you can't monitor the readings from the other fuel injection sensors, activate some of the FI components, or clear fault codes from memory with the Power Tuner. You need the FI diagnostic tool and the new FI sublead assembly for that. The last feature in the monitor mode is the ability to read the ECU's resettable runtime clock. In the setting mode, you can change the engine control map for fuel injector duration and ignition timing to suit the race course layout or surface conditions and rider skills. You can edit and save up to 9 engine maps, and each map has 18 different edit points, 9 for fuel injection and 9 for ignition. This lower left corner basically represents low throttle opening and low engine speed. Throttle opening is represented on this axis, going up as the throttle is opened. And this axis going to the right is engine RPM as it revs higher. On the 2010 YZ450F, the first edit point here is for 1/8 throttle opening at 4,000 RPM. And then we have 2 more edit points at 4,000, one at 3/8 throttle and one at 6/8 throttle opening. We'll call it 6/8 instead of 3/4 to make it easier to compare to the other throttle openings. And then we have 3 edit points each at 6,500 and 9,000 RPM at the same throttle openings. The throttle and RPM points may vary on future models, so be sure to check the appropriate service literature. So as you look at the screen, the bottom left corner is low throttle opening and engine speed, and the upper right corner represents open throttle and high engine speed. Now these edit points are not totally separate standalone points in the engine mapping. They're all connected to each other. So if we increase injector duration at the 3/8 throttle 6,500 RPM point, for example, the change has the greatest effect at that point. But as the engine goes through each of the 9 throttle RPM edit points, the mapping would gradually increase or decrease injector duration or ignition timing to all surrounding points based on their value. So you have smooth linear throttle response all through the RPM range. For fuel injection, each of these points can be edited from the baseline of 0, which is the standard fuel injection map, to -7 steps and up to +7 steps. Each step represents a 3% change in fuel injector duration time. You can increase a fuel injector duration by up to 21% in 3% steps, and decrease injector duration by 21%, also in 3% steps. For example, let's say the injector duration at this point is 4 milliseconds. If we change the setting from 0 to +2, we would be adding 6% or 0.24 milliseconds, for a total of 4.24 millisecond fuel injector duration. There's quite a range of adjustment, so just like jetting a carburetor, be careful with lean settings. For ignition timing, the 2010 YZ450F has the same 9 RPM and throttle opening edit points. The ignition timing at each one of these points can be adjusted to +4 degrees to -9 degrees from the standard ignition timing at that point in 1 degree steps. Let's say, for example, the ignition timing at 4,000 RPM and 1/8 throttle opening is 12 degrees before top dead center. If we change this edit point to +2, the ignition timing would then be 14 degrees before top dead center. And if we set this point to -2, then the timing would be 10 degrees before top dead center. Remember, advanced ignition timing equals more engine heat, so be very careful with ignition changes. Let's edit a map and load it into the ECU. Select Setting, then Edit, then Select to choose a blank map or one we want to change. We'll do Map 2, highlight the map, and press the Set button to select the map. Let's say you want to increase injector duration by at least +2 in all setting points and +3 in 2 of the setting points. Here's a little tip to save time when changing several points. Up to highlight the FI map, then press the Set button. Now choose the Select All button. Now when you move the up or down buttons, all 9 points will be edited together. Now press the Set button to lock those changes and move the highlight to one of the other points we want to increase further and press Set. Increase or decrease that point to where you want it and press Set, and repeat for the other point. When you're done, move the highlight to back and press the Set button. Now move to the ignition map, make the changes in the same way, then save the map. The Power Tuner makes sure you want to save changes so you don't accidentally erase a map you already have. Make sure you get the Save Completed message. Now let's send the map to this unit. Go back to the main setting menu and select Send. Select the map you want to send. The tool shows you the map to confirm this is indeed what you want to do, and then you'll get the Send Completed message. To make sure which map is in the ECU, you can load the current map back into the Power Tuner. From the setting menu, choose Edit, then Load. Confirm you want to load the map, and there it is. As you can see, the Power Tuner is pretty easy to use. Here's some helpful tips. The Power Tuner shows throttle valve travel, not actual throttle valve position, like the FI diagnostic tool. For example, when the throttle valve is closed on the 2010 YZ450F, the Power Tuner shows 0, but the actual throttle valve position in the throttle body is 15 to 19 degrees, if the TPS is set properly. And when the throttle is full open, the Power Tuner displays 80 to 81, showing that the throttle valve traveled a total of 80 degrees, but the actual throttle valve position is 95 to 101 degrees. The Power Tuner will show 0 when the throttle valve is closed, so if the TPS is removed or the setting changed, see your dealer to have the TPS properly adjusted if you don't have the optional FI diagnostic tool and sub-lead assembly. Your dealer can get you copies of this sample race setting log sheet to help keep track of engine mapping and other engine and chassis settings. The Power Tuner has a non-volatile memory, so any maps you have in the tool will be saved even if the batteries are removed. The Power Tuner takes 2 AA batteries, and we really recommend you use high-capacity nickel metal hydride batteries, since the tuner also powers the FI system when it's connected. Make sure you have the Power Tuner off before you connect or disconnect it from a unit. Here's a very important point to remember, especially if you work on multiple units. When you retrieve a map out of the ECU, the map number will be whatever map number the tool is displaying at that time, not what the map number was when you loaded it into the ECU. For example, if you edit map 4 and load it into the ECU, then change the tool to display map 9, now when you load the map back into the Power Tuner, it will show map 9 on the display. So it's hard to quickly see which map is currently loaded into the ECU, or you could mistakenly think you actually have map 9 loaded. This can also be an issue when you exit from the edit screen. The Power Tuner sees that the map is changed, but not saved, so it prompts if you wish to overwrite that particular map number or not. It can get confusing, or you could overwrite a map that you really wanted to save. So you see, it's a very good idea to keep accurate written notes as you edit and load different maps, which can be especially important when you're at the track where things get hectic, or testing when you're making many different changes. So now you should have a pretty good idea on how to use the Power Tuner, and once again, be sure to read the owner's manual completely. Thanks for watching, and good luck at the races.